thank you so much for being with us. I just want to get your reaction. I mean, there's so many different directions we could go on with this conversation, but I first want to get your reaction. This idea that the Israelis are now going to expand operations in Gaza, primarily, obviously, to put pressure on Hamas, but this idea that innocent civilians will have to be moved yet again. Give us your reaction to that.
We have warned the world from the beginning that this was the Israeli plan. And by the way, they never hide it. They have announced it from day one. They are not after this group or that. They are after the Palestinian people. And I'd like to remind your audience that they're doing the same in the West Bank, displacing people, destroying cities, infrastructure, hospitals in the West Bank, in Jenin, Tulkarem. So this is really an Israeli government that after the Palestinian people, they want to continue on the very plan of ethnic cleansing. And the situation now in Gaza is not only apocalyptic, it is post-apocalyptic. People are dying of hunger, of thirst, and it's not at the brink of famine. It is already famine. We just learned of the passing of a baby girl, Janan Skafi, of malnutrition. She is number 57 who have died because of famine. And what is very significant here is atrocities happen in history of mankind, but this is the first time in modern human history a group of people go through this for this long with no intervention whatsoever by the international community. A red line after a red line. Remember when the US did a red line on Rafah? Now Rafah is completely and utterly demolished, decimated. A red line on the humanitarian assistance. There was a letter by the US president during the Biden administration time threatening Israel if they do not allow the unhindered free access of humanitarian aid, food, water, medicine, what have you, the US will impose an arms embargo in Israel. That deadline came, that deadline went, and no action. So this is very serious. Israel has dismantled our international order. Israel has dismantled all we have built together after the horrors of the Second World War. And what happened in Gaza will not stay in Gaza. So the ramification of this, the normalization of the use of food as a weapon of war, the normalization of the use of medicine as a weapon of war is going to haunt all of us and will have serious ramification on the way international relations and wars will be conducted in the future worldwide. Therefore, we must intervene and the world must intervene immediately.
Mr. Ambassador, barring a last-minute deal that's reached between Israel and Hamas that would see a pause in the fighting and release of all hostages, we had, I'm not sure if you heard the last hour, one of our guests, former IDF spokesperson, reiterate what we've heard from many on the Israeli side, and that is that Hamas is hoarding the aid that has gone in there for themselves, making it very difficult for the civilians to have access to that aid, or at least access to that aid at reasonable prices. So what is your reaction to that? And what are some of the solutions, again, barring a short-term deal at least in the interim now, for who would facilitate getting that aid into Gaza? Would it be the Americans, perhaps?
Israel's cover-up for its war crimes is something that has been chronic and has been exposed. Remember the 15 rescue workers, aid workers, health workers who were assassinated by Israel last month. They buried them, they buried their cars, and they forgot one device in the pocket of one of those health workers who they assassinated, and then the world knew what Israel did. But in the meantime, Israel refused, denied any sort of deliberate targeting. And the same thing happens here. The responsibility of providing humanitarian aid, of making sure the civilian population are provided for and protected is solely in the hands of the occupier. And Israel is an occupying power as per international law, international consensus, and as per the ruling of the International Court of Justice. That's the world's highest court only last July that Israel's presence in the occupied territory is unlawful. All of its settlements is unlawful. And third parties, including the US, must cease immediately to provide any political, legal, or material help to Israeli illegal practices. And therefore, all this is propaganda and lying. Israel is deliberately using and weaponizing food, water, medicine, the very basic human needs as a method of war. This is absolutely clear. It is documented. And if we do not manage to hold those war criminals to account, this will haunt all of us. And I tell you, I really do feel the danger we are facing as a human race right now. Because if people get away with this, if criminals get away with this, many are learning these lessons. Many believe now that you could simply target children via famine. You simply can target ambulances, destroy hospitals, level entire cities because you claim that there is a group who took people hostage. You're doing that. Imagine if a group of people took some hostages in Chicago, just for the sake of the argument. Then the US government will lay siege on Chicago and prevent food, water, electricity, energy, and then bombard the hell out of Chicago, carpet bomb families. You know how many families have been wiped out of the record in the last year and a half? Including since Israel resumed its genocidal assault on Gaza, more than 3,000 have lost their lives. You know from the UN and other agencies, most of these murdered are women and children. This isn't just about Israel, my friends. This is about the US. This is about the international community. And this is about how are we going to leave behind us a future for our children.
Mr. Ambassador, I mean, you laid out a lot there. You know, we can go back to October 7th, Hamas being designated a terror organization by the United States and much of the world committing the worst crime that Israel had upon its civilians since its creation, taking 250 hostages. That aside, I guess we're now a year and a half into this war. Hamas has yet to lay down their arms. They have not released the hostages, and they have not relinquished control over the enclave. So what is that the Palestinian Authority can do now in terms of pressuring Hamas and others in the Arab League, including Israel, as you have just noted, to get as much humanitarian aid in now to those innocent civilians that desperately need it?
There is a lot that we did, and there is a lot that we should do, not only us, the Palestinian government, but also the region and the rest of the international community. But from day one, we called for an immediate ceasefire. From day one, we called for Israel to respect international law and for the world to enforce those very rules that Israel should not target the civilians. And we came up with a plan with Egypt that became an Arab consensus in the Arab Summit in Cairo only recently, whereby there will be a Palestinian committee to take care of Gaza, provide for our people there, and that committee will be formed by the Palestinian government. We provided all the sort of way out of this, including a reconstruction conference and preparations. We also, by the way, pushed and supported the implementation of the ceasefire agreement. It was a US-mediated ceasefire agreement, but you watched and the world did watch Israel breaking that agreement and resuming the attacks. And therefore, this is a moment when we want to go back to a ceasefire, when we want to make sure that the people of Gaza stay on their land, that the Israeli fallacy that our people will leave their land en masse. And you are hearing Israeli politicians talking about the mass transfer, the mass expulsion. What they're doing in Gaza is very simple. It's very straight. It's classic colonialism and classic mass transfer ethnic cleansing plan. They are telling our people in Gaza, you will be starved, you will have nowhere to go. The only place that is available for you is out of your homeland. That's the plan. So we need to make sure we go back to a ceasefire arrangement. We need to make sure we bring international energy towards rebuilding Gaza, uniting Gaza with the West Bank under one Palestinian legitimate government. And we need to make sure that we visit the root cause of all this, which is, I'd like to remind you and your viewers that it is about the occupation, the colonization, the besiegement. This is about time that the occupation leaves us alone. Leave our land. We are capable as people and as institutions to build our state, to have our own future, away from all this supremacy, all this racism and targeting. The Palestinian people have been subject to this for 100 years. This is about time we put this behind us and embrace a different tomorrow.